Good morning, good morning. Big Square, roadtoruta.com. With your Friday horn of Z's. Your sip of organic greens and ginger cold pressed vegetable fruit blend. Yes, it is day five. Day five of the cleanse, the 9-day cleanse. This is so easy. So easy. I hope you guys who are doing it are like feeling a lot better. I feel a lot better. I've already dropped 5 pounds. Pound a day, baby, pound a day. Um, but yeah, that's what I'm drinking for breakfast this morning. But I want to talk about crime. I want to talk about the silver market. I want to talk about our friends at JP Morgan. Unbelievable. Their earnings report and the conference call. I took some notes. I listened to the whole conference call. If you guys want to check out the conference call, go to JP Morgan Chase, jpmorganchase.com. Go to quarterly earnings. It's right there. There's the press release, the presentations, the supplement, and then right below it, you get to hear Jamie Dimon. Okay. It's just hard to even talk about this criminal organization. How can a company commit so many crimes, pay their way out of it, and this time not pay their way out of it? 5 traders being charged with RICO charges in the silver manipulation. They can and should, according to the law, lose their banking license. That's how big that is. They will lose their banking license. It is obviously the biggest thing at JP Morgan. It is the destruction of their company, right? And yet, we have the earnings announcement and the earnings call and crickets. Crickets about the silver manipulation. Here's JP Morgan. JP Morgan blasts third quarter earning forecast as fixed income revenue jumps. I guarantee you, crime pays if you're allowed to get away with the crime. I will give you some highlights. First of all, the news says JP Morgan Chase posted better than expected third quarter earnings Tuesday as revenue from its fixed income division as well as net interest income surprised to the upside. JP Morgan said earnings for 3 months ended September came in at 2.68 per share, up 14%. The group managed revenues were pegged at $29 billion, and the bank said easily topping estimates at $27.8 billion. What does that mean? Everybody's getting bonuses. Everybody gets to run away with the booty. Here's from the conference call. I'm going to read you some of the things I highlighted. First of all, net income was $9.1 billion. One might ask, why do they have to borrow hundreds of billions from the repo market? What would Jamie Dimon and his company's earnings be if they weren't getting bailed out every night? Bigger question. But here's some things from this conference call. Revenue was $30.1 billion for the quarter, record growth. They're better than they've ever been. Middle markets, record growth. Asset management, record growth. They left out derivatives, record growth. They don't publish the derivatives for the quarter until 2 quarters later. But at the beginning of the year, the first quarter, record growth, $11 trillion in increased derivatives for Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan. Earnings call, no mention that they might lose their banking license because of five precious metals traders who were rigging the markets for years. The SEC could not bust them. The CFTC could not bust them. It took the DOJ to go in there and say, oh my God, what the hell is going on? No mention of WeWork. This huge, no mention. They're going to lose hundreds of millions of dollars. It's not even mentioned. No mention of a $13 or $17.5 billion inventory of physical silver. No mention. Nothing. Crickets. They did ask about the repo markets. Jamie Dimon basically had this one tucked in his pocket. Here's what I'm going to say about repo markets. The repo markets, we could solve that problem because we're JP Morgan Chase. All you got to do is take off these pesky constraints of keeping cash in the bank. Whose cash is that, Jamie? They have to right now. They have $120 billion at the Fed, and Jamie goes, oh, and it fluctuates between that and 60 billion during the day. And they used to let us go below zero, but they're not letting us anymore. That's a problem. Oh my God, criminality run rampant in the United States of America and in our banking system. And then the very last question was a great question. Jamie, what do you think of the political environment? Everybody's saying, we're going to have to tax the banks, and the banks are getting all this bad press. And Jamie's all defensive. What do you mean? There's nothing wrong with the banks. We're good for society. We're the reason that we have growth, and we have all these. We take care of so many employees, and that trickles down to everybody. This is the top of the top. This is the bullshit you're going to hear. Jamie Dimon's being taken down. All we need is a little hiccup in the markets, and they're at all-time highs, bubbles everywhere. Can you see how this is going? Jamie, listen to the call. Listen to how defensive he was. He even tried to stop the questioner mid-question when he started asking it. Really, really, really interesting times. At all-time bubble numbers, only because the Fed is bailing out the banks every night, and Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan are the key culprit. Where do we go from here? We go into craziness. I read the silver announcement from the DOJ again. Let me just read a little bit of it. Two current precious metal traders and one former trader in the New York offices of a U.S. bank. They won't even say the name of the bank. But everybody knows who these guys are and where they worked. We're charged. You know why? Because JP Morgan is part of this investigation. The investigation is still ongoing. We're charged in an indictment unsealed today. This was September 16th. For their alleged participation in a racketeering conspiracy and other federal crimes in connection with the manipulation of the markets for precious metals futures contracts, which spanned over 8 years and involved thousands of unlawful trading sequences. Charged in the indictment are Greg Smith, 55, Scarsdale, Michael Nowak, Christopher Jordan. Quote, the defendants and others, there's more coming down, allegedly engaged in a massive multi-year scheme to manipulate the markets for precious metals futures contracts and defraud market participants. These charges should leave no doubt that the department is committed to prosecuting those who undermine the investigation, blah, blah, blah. Smith, Nowak, Jordan, and their co-conspirators allegedly engaged in a complex scheme to trade precious metals in a way that negatively affected the natural balance of supply and demand. How many times was I screaming this over the last 20 years? Screaming. Go to roadtoroot.com, look up silver manipulation, look how many articles I wrote on it. Insane. Let's see. 3 of the defendants were charged with 1 count of conspiracy to conduct the affairs of an enterprise involved in interstate or foreign commerce through a pattern of racketeering activity, more commonly referred to as RICO conspiracy. They will lose their license. Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan will lose their license. The largest derivative holder in the world, the largest bank in the world. It is all coming down. There is no doubt on every front this shit is going down. Now, as alleged in the indictment, between approximately May 2008 and August 2016, the defendants and their co-conspirators were a member of Bank A's global precious metals trading desk in New York, London, and Singapore, with varying degrees of seniority. As it relates to the RICO conspiracy, the defendants and their co-conspirators were allegedly members of an enterprise, namely the precious metal desk at J.P. Morgan, it says banking, and conducted the affairs through a pattern of racketeering activity. Who was in charge of that entire group? Blythe Masters. When did Blythe Masters get booted or kind of disappear from the world? In December of last year. When did Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan start running into trouble? On the repo side, everybody knows they went from, I don't remember the total number. It was huge though, down to 120 billion in their overnight bank checking account that was used in the repo market. Huge. Same time is Jamie Dimon saying, hey, you take us down, you take the world down. Absolutely. It was part of the whole Ruta timeline. I'm telling you, they're doing this all on purpose. The bad guys, which Jamie Dimon and friends, to cover up their bad deeds. The good guys to take out the bad guys. The Democrats to take out Trump. Everybody is shooting for the crash. And the crash can't be little. This is what the DOJ is preparing for. 2008 to 2016, let's take a look at where that is. Right here, as you can see, boom, silver was running. 2008 was when Bear Stearns, the huge silver rigger, and silver short went down. Everybody who's had the silver short has gone down. AIG, Bear Stearns, Drexel Burnham. Ask Ted Butler about this. And now JP Morgan's about to go down. But here's when it happened. 2008 to 2016. Look at that. Theoretically, the market just kept going up. Smooth and steady wins the race in a free market, freely traded market. There should be little ups and downs. Remember, the silver supply and demand is very, 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 very stable. And yet the price is one of the most volatile prices in the world. Why? Because it's the most important commodity on planet Earth. Planet Earth. So here's when Blythe Masters, Jamie Dimon got in. Rig. I'm going to drive it down. Oh shit, we can't drive it down. Let's put Bill Daley as Obama's chief of staff right here. We'll drive the price up to $50 and create an artificial bear market that'll last 10 years. That was the plan, and they did it. From here to here, this whole thing should never have happened. It's just like cryptos. In 2017, the huge boom is the worst thing that could have possibly happened. But it was all planned and orchestrated to destroy sentiment and destroy the little guy. And all the big guys were in on it. They knew when they were going to crash. It was all part of the plan. And you are the sucker for buying into it. So yes, silver should be unknown amounts right now. It's not. It is rigged. I highly suggest everybody get ready for a silver moonshot in 2019. 2019. 2.5 months. Could have the biggest return ever. It could go to zero first, though. That's what I want to tell everybody. These markets were 100% manipulated. So yes, they could crash the price using derivatives. That's how everything is traded on exchanges. Crash the price to zero and shut down market. They could do it with cryptos as well. Crash the price to zero and shut down market. But they could do the opposite as well. They can run it up to $1 million an ounce. What do you think about $1 million Bitcoin? It's a click of a mouse. A click of a mouse. So I don't know where it's going. All I'm saying is huge volatility coming up in the next 2.5 months. Like huge. Like never before seen volatility. With Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan probably being the main person to blame for the Democrats. They're looking for someone to blame, but he's a huge Democrat supporter. Anyway, as far as timing, I will be posting today, hopefully today, sometime today, for the private road members, number 8 of a timeline. I haven't done a timeline since I was doing them from June until September 11th when this whole debacle started with the repo and all that. Um, so this is the first one. So it's a little clouded, but I got some clues as to when this could all go down, and I will be posting it either today or tomorrow on the private road. If you want to join the private road, go to roadtoroad.com, hit subscribe today, and check out the very token I'm giving out and the silver coin. Also, 11 o'clock today, 11 a.m. Pacific time, I'll be doing a live chat to talk about all this stuff. So tune in, 11 o'clock. This is Bix Road to Ruta. Talk to you later.